podcast where we are live on the rec yard every Wednesday night. Hey, it is Wednesday night and we are live on the Rec Yard Women's Prison podcast. I'm Marci Marie.
I'm Toonche.
And we almost didn't make it,
We
Toonche.
almost didn't.
Every single Wednesday night. This is almost why maybe our show shouldn't be live. Perhaps we need a producer because there's mishaps going on all the time.
Right up to the minute the show starts. It'd be great if we had producers that just guided us and all we had to do was show up in front of the microphone. That would be great.
Yeah, I love when I interview with somebody for their podcast and their producers are there and they've got all this great logos and they're checking the sound and they stop us and tell us, hey, I'm with like Rosie O'Donnell, they're telling her, Rosie, stop right there, check your headphones, take them off. And she's like, is this better? Is this better? Move your mic a little. Yeah. And it comes out saying, of course, she's making big money.
Right. We'll get there one day, Marci. This is grassroots, like in your basement before you make it big in podcasting, I feel like. So
I interviewed somebody for my YouTube channel, Houston Smooth. He's like a musician or an artist, I should say, out of Houston, formerly incarcerated, but he actually recorded his first song that actually got, I don't know what the terminology is, but that actually went somewhere, right? And he hung like quilts around in a closet and went and got in the closet and he recorded that and sent it to the studio and they did whatever. So I picture that in my mind. I'm like, hey, if he can rock that way, we got a little something going on over here too.
We've stepped it up. If people go back to that first episode, it was rough.
It was rough. It was rough. And Toonche, you gave me way too much credit right from the jump about technology and how to use this. Like we use Restream and how to maneuver things. I barely knew how to turn on my laptop when we started this podcast.
But look at you now. Now you're telling me about my sound and my lighting. And I've lit up my, we're getting better. Somebody at work was like, you got this whole YouTube streamer thing going on your screen. I'm like, perfect.
That's exactly what we were going for. So Carrie is already on and we're so happy to see you. She's reminding us to don't forget to like, comment. If you're wherever you're watching us live right now, if you drop a comment, we would really appreciate it. When this live stream ends, go ahead and hit that share button. If you're listening to us, we would really appreciate if you left a review wherever you're listening, Apple Music, Spotify, wherever you're hearing us, we would really appreciate it. Vincent is on. We appreciate it so much. Thomas, the Free Me Show, which we need to link up. He's doing some big things, formerly incarcerated. He's on. Elaine Campbell's here, and we're so happy for that. I see Lori. I see Melanie. I see Anthony. Just welcome everybody. We love to see everybody. It just helps us build momentum, helps us just the community. Like this is the best part. And this is why we do our shows live, is for the community. So we're so happy. And there's somebody on Facebook and she might be on one of our pages. And she says she's actually here on time for once.
Nice. Thank you.
Yeah, we're so happy for y'all. And I'm also streaming to my TikTok family. And so they're here with us also. And so Toonche, we have a little surprise. And
I know, I'm excited.
Yeah, it's for a little bit later, but before we do that, hey Toonche, let's do a weekly recap.
That was perfect. You nailed it. I'm real proud of that one because last week I was like, we didn't know what was happening. Perfect.
Yeah, it's all about timing, right? So this week we had a few things happening this week. We went to the Texas Department of Criminal Justice to their board meeting, the Texas Board of Criminal Justice. And man, we turned out Toonche, how many people were there?
Oh man, it was full. It was full. And normally the board meetings are, very dry, maybe not well attended. But I think it was a direct result of all the advocacy groups posting, getting the information out there. This is one of the rare meetings that is open for public comment. So it was packed. It was packed.
It was packed, and so we had 37 people stand up and leave public comment and address the board directly about issues and concerns that they have in the Texas prison system. And beyond that, we had lots of people that were just there to support the cause. Man, we ran into some ladies from the Dr. Lane Murray unit and the Mountain View unit where Toonche and I did time, that they had decades of incarceration under their belt. And when they stood in front of that board and said, I've been locked up 32 years plus, and this is what needs to happen. And when our friend and fellow lioness Laura stood up and said, I've been locked up 30 years, and if I had spent one more summer in prison, I wouldn't have survived. And man, the looks on their faces, it was serious. Family members who had lost loved ones, golly, guys, it was heart-wrenching. There were times that we looked up and we saw the executive director with tears in his eyes, because these mothers are up there talking about how they lost their children. Women are up there talking about how they lost their husbands because of the dangerous temperatures and poor conditions in our prison system. So it was pretty phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, it was going on 2, 3 hours of public comment. We got there early because we weren't going to let anything get by us. Right? Like, we're there early, signed in, ready, listening to the school district talk about programming, and then, there is some dry board business stuff with any board meeting. But, it was like you said, the comments about the heat was what was the majority of people were there for. We also shared about the male policies, women's programming. And I just, and I don't say this often because I'm very jaded, Marci, when it comes to the leadership over our prison system. But those people heard it this time in a way I could see on their faces that I haven't seen them react before.
I felt that too. Even when I was speaking, the level of engagement in their eyes, they were paying attention. They weren't just letting us speak just because they had to. I feel like we were heard. Now, are they going to be taking what we say into account? I sure hope so, because we're not going anywhere.
Right. I think they figured out there's some groups of us that are we're just not going anywhere. So you might as well get used to it, and buckle up and do something different, because we're not going to let off the gas.
Anything else happen this week?
Just so much. So much. So much. I bought this snake statue at Marshall's. It was in the Halloween section, but everyone knows that is the symbol for Taylor's reputation error, and it is on one of her magazines. So that's in the background. That was for me. What about you?
Does everyone know that?
Honey, everybody knows that.
Everybody?
Everybody knows that the snake is the symbol of Taylor Swift's her big comeback.
You were so excited about that snake that you made a TikTok
I
video
did.
about
I
it.
sure did. A grown woman in my mid 40s, and I made a whole TikTok about finding this. It was as soon as I saw it at Marshall's, I just busted out with big reputation. People were looking at me like, did I have Tourette's, or did I have some other disorder that was just making? I was so excited. I ran to the counter. I was.
Toonche, my mom is on here, and she's letting us know, or reminding us to let people know, that they can watch that board meeting. It's on the TDCJ videos.
Yes.
YouTube. And actually, all I did was search TDCJ videos, and that is where it's at. So it pulls up that page. And so if you wanted to watch it, you definitely could.
Thanks, Mom. I love how she just herds us. I love it.
Yes. Yes. And Elaine she's hopeful that maybe we do have their ear. And I believe you're right, Elaine. They're not to be trusted, because if in this type of situation, if you stop, then all of that's forgotten. So we have to continue the momentum, and that's definitely what we plan to do.
Now,
Uh,
I want to say this, Marcy, because a lot of people, if you listen to the whole board meeting, you'll hear them talk about money that was allocated to the prison system. This happened at the end of session. Okay, this money was allocated by the Senate. It was a fraction of what was requested to put in temperature control cooling systems. And it is an overall maintenance, being allotted for maintenance. So TDCJ is really trying to find ways to completely stretch that dollar. And this is, they're responsible because they are the ones that are they're caring for people, right? But at the end of the day, if they don't have the money, they can't manufacture air conditioners out of the dirt. You know what I mean? I don't think they want it to be that hot either. I really don't. But they can only do what they have with the money they were allocated.
well, it's definitely a legislative issue for sure, right? But what I did notice is they tried to herd off some of the comments about air conditioning prior
For
to
sure.
public comment, because the public comment was like at the end of the meeting. So at the beginning, several statements were made about, our goal is we have this plan to, we are going to be air conditioning all the units over this number of years. Well, the problem is this number of years just simply isn't good enough. What it boils down to is, as of June 1st, uh, by our calculations, along with Ryan Chandler with KXAN News, we calculate at least 51 suspected heat related deaths. We don't have years. This has to be done now. So I think that was a point made, but it wasn't just about the heat. It was about all kinds of issues, about the price of the water, about the poor quality of the drinking water, solitary confinement, the way short staffs are not, because they're so short of staff, they're not able to utilize policies that are in place to protect incarcerated people. We talked about education, equal education for women, implementing the Pell Grant for women. We talked about the mailroom policies. Several people talked about the new mailroom policies. It was good. It was good. But like we said, you can see that on YouTube. We probably should move on because we have a good show tonight, and we have a guest.
We do.
I'm really excited for the guest. We are talking about prison relationships, finding love behind bars, or finding love while you're incarcerated, and what that looks like in the women's penitentiary. And so some of you know that I met my girlfriend in prison, and we are still together now. We've been home for she's been home for 3 years, and I've been home for 2.5. And so yeah, we're making it shake out here, and that's who our special guest is. She has agreed to come on the show, and she's out of town. So I'm excited. I think I'll just bring her on. Yeah.
Do it. Yeah.
Okay.
Hello.
Brittany.
Yes.
So Brittany and I met on the Dr. Lane Murray unit. And Britt, how did we meet?
Well, what time?
Well, I was thinking
When you were
about
stalking me, or
when I first saw you, the first time we saw each other. So Brittany was actually one of my best friend's roommates. So
Here we go.
Shout out to Erin
that's her
Quigley.
story, y'all.
Shout out to Erin Quigley. She's still incarcerated.
Free Erin Quigley.
Yeah, so I move into this new dorm, which I wasn't happy about being there, but I was happy because my BF lived there. And so when I moved in, I was like, Erin, and Brittany comes to the door it was cell block. So she was like on the cell door. And
You're annoying me.
annoying you.
Yes, I was trying to read or whatever I was doing.
This was really important.
No, it was not important. We will see you. Trust me. We're on sales.
We're not going anywhere.
He's not
Right.
going nowhere.
Right. So, Toonch, how many relationships have you seen, like, people met in the penitentiary and they're still together out here in the free world?
Oh gosh, not many. I can count them on one hand. I mean, I think people try. I think when they get out, they may hook up or see each other, and then they quickly realize, yeah, no, I don't, I don't like it's not the same, and I don't want to do this. But like to be long term and committed, not that many.
I think that the ones well, first of all, there's a couple things, right? Because in prison, when you don't have all of the real life responsibilities, I don't know that the laws of a relationship or the rules or how you move in a relationship is very different on the inside from the
Yeah.
outside.
It's like a whole separate world out there in there.
Right.
Totally
Well, maybe,
different.
yeah,
But when
maybe
you're in there, you really don't know a person, but you don't know how they are in the free world. That makes sense? Like our relationship in there was totally different than it is out here. I mean, there's like real life problems out here that interfere and like real, not just laws and other inmates like trying to get into it and like separate you, but it's life. Life happens.
Right.
In life, you can never predict what's going to happen in life. In prison, we know what's going to happen. You know, we're going to go to chow, we're going to go to rec, we're going to go do this. But out here, you don't never know what's going to happen. Like me being in Michigan right now, we didn't know that was going to happen,
right.
and here I am.
Right. And it's so funny that you're kind of thinking it's harder out here. And I'm thinking the opposite.
What?
Yeah. I feel like having the pressure in there about, I mean, Brittany and I didn't live together for the most of our incarceration. We were in a committed relationship, but we did not live in the same dorm. And on that unit, that means you don't rec together, you don't go to chow together. I
A
mean,
lot of signing and a lot of letters, little notes, a
yeah, yeah, it was
lot of
like a pen
messages,
pal.
a lot of
Yeah,
messages.
yeah.
Hanging out the window with my mirror to see you go to chow.
Tell us about that, Britt.
Oh, when I was so happy that I was on Seaside's outer wall, so I could see you go to chow and pill line. It was insane. Like these little bars, just my neck still hurts from those days.
So
Arms hanging out the window.
what she's explaining is we're on a unit with several different buildings. So you walk outside to chow, you walk outside to work, outside to the chapel. And Brittany was in a cell block building. So she had this small window with bars on it. And you could kind of, your handheld mirror that's not real glass, it's whatever that shatterproof
Oil.
that makes you look all
Right.
distorted. It's not exactly the right movie, or the right mirror, but she would hold her mirror out of the bars and kind of angle it so she could see me walking up and down the street going to chow or whatever. And that's important. That's a rule. Like if she wasn't there, it would have been a problem.
Man, it's going to be a problem. You're not at that window. You're not at that door.
Oh yeah, it's a
It's a
problem.
problem. So, what were you doing? You don't care about me. You don't
Who?
love me. You were messing around with somebody. That
Yeah, who
means
were you with? Now
right.
what you were doing is who you with? Who you talking to?
Otherwise, you'd be at this door and this window.
Yeah.
That's right. You know what you made me think of right now is do you remember how people in cell block housing would tie a string
Onto
on?
their girlfriend's wrist. So anytime
Yes.
their girlfriend would get up, they knew they were moving. They're like, "Where you going?"
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, they seriously, so they would live in different cells, but in the same dorm, and they just have they'd take the string out of a towel or whatever. And so it was just barely visible. You could get away with it pretty easily. And you either ran it outside the window or you ran it on the run under the doors. And literally, if you got up to wash your hands, even, they'd be like, "What are
Yep.
you doing?" Like,
Who you in the door with?
yes. Yes.
Yep.
Well, we never went that far.
Well,
No.
it's some folks get so like the relationships on the inside are so magnified, right? They're so amplified, like times 30. And I when I got out of prison the first time, obviously I took that with me into my relationships in the world. And then what did I do? Oh, you don't want to talk to me? I'm just going to break in your house, throw myself through a window, beat you and your sister up, and then the police are going to take me away, right? Because it was
That's
what
prison
prison.
mentality.
That's prison mentality. That's what I'd known since I was 15. So when I got locked up the next 10 years, yes, I had two or three girlfriends, and we had some problems, but that stuff, I'd say, listen to me. This is not normal. People in the world don't do this. This isn't healthy. We're not going to be at the window. I got into some real problems with that, right? Because, it's still that culture. And, yeah, that intensity. How did y'all adjust to that when you got out, right? Like this, where are you at? This constant, we have to be merged as one 24 hours a day. How did y'all get past that?
We are merged 24 hours a day.
Yeah, it was
But
very
I
sweet
don't
of
exist.
me.
It's
I
all
know, but
Marcy. It's Marcy.
but
If
you
you
know
She's
what
the
I
want,
boss.
mean.
well, so you're in Michigan and I'm here. And we've been doing it for 2 weeks now while you're working, which is kind of crazy. Rosie's watching us on TikTok. So we want to say hi, Rosie. We
Hey,
love
Rosie.
you.
What's
We
good?
appreciate all your support for sure. So the difference, like in prison, there is a possession factor.
Right,
And
right.
so your girlfriend, you have possession, and it is completely acceptable to tell one another who you can and can't speak to, who you can and can't talk to or walk next to, or even to the point that if that girl gets up and washes her hands or goes to the sink, you can't go to the sink area when she's at the sink area. Like that, those are
You better
acceptable
skip your
rules.
shower.
Right? Yeah,
Better skip
you
that
better skip
shower.
your
Oh,
shower.
you gotta go on that side? No, you skip that. You ain't going today. Not today. You better take a bath. Whole bath.
Yeah. That's exactly right. And those kind of restrictions on your partner, those are acceptable both ways.
Hmm.
Absolutely both ways. And Brittany and I lived that way. Like we had very much had a prison relationship. We were prison wives. We followed the prison rules. And so coming home and adjusting to how was that? I mean, yeah, how
Well, since we didn't live together in there, I think that helped a lot too, because we know how to be apart, and we know. I don't even know what I'm trying to say. But
well, I think you're right, and as in it helped us, like right now with you working so far away. You're like literally 1,000 miles away right now. And I remember being in prison, it was we were in different dorms, but because we just rarely saw each other and because most of our relationships was like corresponding, I used to tell you, you may as well be 1,000 miles away.
and here
And
I am.
that's right. And we know how to handle it, you
I
know?
think because we built a relationship on, like, not physically, but like mentally and emotionally before we got physical. You know what I mean? Since
Oh,
we were
so
so
y'all
far
were
apart.
never physical inside?
We were rarely physical inside.
Rarely. Like,
Rarely.
so
Rarely. We
y'all
ain't gonna
said
talk
y'all
about this.
didn't
My
live
mother-in-law's
together.
on here, okay?
Oh, okay. All right.
Well, we did. Oh, because my mom's on here. My mom knows that sex happens in the free world. She knows that sex happens in prison.
But you know it happens in chapel bathrooms.
Well, okay.
Marcy said, well, okay.
So Elaine is talking about,
Oh yeah, now you want to change it up, don't you?
and Elaine works with Planned Parenthood, and she does a lot of advocacy work also. And she says we should create a relationships and healthy consent classes for inmates at Planned Parenthood. Would the prison let me teach that in prisons?
No,
And
because it's
so
right. It's cool. It's a good thing to teach. They're not gonna let you.
That's
Right.
exactly what I was fixing
It
to
makes
say.
sense. So nope, it can't happen.
Right,
Yes.
Elaine, because what they're going to say is that there is no such thing as consensual relationships, because it's all against the rules.
Well, that's the
And
proper way of saying it, but whatever.
yeah, so you wouldn't be allowed. And as officially in a Planned Parent capacity, the state would freak out.
Yeah.
It'd be too
Yeah.
much like right.
Well, that's exactly right. But I wonder, I mean, that's so important, and I think that mentality of people, that mentality for people going in and out of the system, or trying to even, yeah, change their life. Not necessarily if they're with the same partner, but just think about Toonch. You weren't with your, after the first time you got out, you weren't with your girlfriend. She wasn't incarcerated with you, but you still had
Oh,
that
for sure.
mentality. That could be a kind of a reentry type,
Oh, yeah,
a
for sure.
workshop or something. I don't know. It just seems interesting. Like maybe Lioness, maybe we need to collab on a webinar or
Like
something, a
curriculum
recorded
on
class.
training on social skills, like just so like social skills period coming out of prison are so weird. I told y'all that time that I wanted to beat the lady up at Subway because she said something kind of under her breath, and I knocked shit over. I was like, "You got something to say? You can just say it." I was like, "What am I doing?" She's 60 years old and she can talk under her breath if she wants to, but that kind of stuff means something else. So if I'd have had that type of, I don't know, counseling when I got out, well, then maybe I wouldn't have thought, I have every right to throw myself through my ex girlfriend's window.
But you do.
Brittany,
Well,
don't. Brittany, don't, because it's somewhere in our heads. It's still
But
there.
who said that that's not right, and who says it is right?
Well, the state of Texas says it's
Well, I
wrong.
don't care
I'm
about
going
the
to
state
send
of
you to
Texas. Got to
prison.
say Texas. I'm in a great state right now. Let me tell you something about my state that I'm in right now. Texas sucks. Every time we go out, I go to a different state. I realize how bad Texas is.
well,
Like
that's for a whole nother conversation,
I hate
right?
Texas.
That's
I
a
love
whole
Texas.
nother.
I love Texas. I want to be nowhere else, but everything else about Texas, like our government, it sucks.
Well, we have a lot going on
We're
for
being
sure.
hoed, okay?
Yeah,
We're
that's
being hoed for real.
Yeah.
so you feel like you're a world traveler now that you've been, because
I've
you've
been to
been.
like 10 states so far. Since I've been
Yeah.
an adult. When I was a child, my dad's a truck driver, so I've been to all of them.
Yes. Yeah. Well, you definitely have a lot of people on your side with knowing that, and present company included, right? We definitely know we need a lot of help, but
Oh yeah,
um we're
milk's $1.52 for a gallon here. Okay,
yeah.
$1.52 for a gallon of milk,
Well, we're
and
talking
there's no
about
taxes
prison.
on that shit.
Well, Brittany, I don't want to take you off the show, but we're talking about prison relationships today.
Hey, if we're on the regular, we talk about whatever.
Oh, that's true.
Brittany's
Well,
coming in and just regulating real
yeah,
hard right now because she wants to talk about inflation.
we
I
should
don't
have
care about all that. I'm just
we
saying, Texas needs to pull up.
yes, Texas needs
Not to
to
pull up.
up.
I need you to check up and pull up, sister.
Hey,
And
I get on top of that.
well, now you got to say where that pull up comment came from.
Safe P. You wouldn't know nothing about that, Marcy, because yours wasn't real safe P.
Well, I was there.
But it wasn't real. You didn't have to do what I had to do. I had to march, sing, and everything else.
We did a podcast about Safe P, which is an in prison kind of a substance abuse
No, it's
program.
meant. It's not. It's change your
Brittany,
behavioral thinking.
I will take you off of this show so quick. You won't even get to say goodbye. It's one button.
Please, I can do it too. Watch.
So I'm just yeah, so that's what it is. It's an in prison program, and I happen to go through that program. All three of us have been through it. I
You
happen
ain't
to
go
go
through
through
it.
I happened to go through it when it was COVID happening. So I didn't program. I just signed a paper saying I was
And
programming
that's the state of
they
Texas being fraud.
could
Committing
get paid.
fraud.
Yeah, that's how it went on. So Elaine, if Brittany was a regular guest, our relationship might not survive it.
But survived TD. Look, like it said, everybody's like, I've been to TDCJ. No, look, I survived the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. Okay,
Yes,
that's
it
some
was
real
a
shit.
survive.
Real crap. My bad.
It was about survival for sure. For sure it was.
And then that makes it
Our
even
relationship
more.
survived that. Why can't we survive this?
That would. That's what makes this so incredible, right? Like y'all developed a relationship on the inside, and you were able to nurture it out here into the beautiful way that, I mean, y'all are fixing to get married, and I hope everybody knew that because I just said it. So I mean, that's phenomenal, right? Like, I mean, we're struggling to survive as it is, and relationships don't always make it past the gate. I mean, I think we have really great relationships on the inside, but it just, things change. Like we talked about with pen pals. Like, yeah, I developed a strong relationship through letters and pictures, and that has been very, very difficult in person. I mean, we're still friends, but it's been hard to navigate. So I can only imagine trying to transition
Well,
out here.
maybe not every. Okay, so you know how in prison you could be all you could be in prison.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe your pen pals all they could be in, like, you know, they like this the idea, but in reality, it can't be. It can't be. They're scared or something. I don't know.
Oh God.
Well,
Maybe they have a whole husband and they didn't want to tell you that. I don't know.
Well, I
That's
mean,
happened
things like
before.
that
Trust me.
happen too. Yeah.
I mean, or
well,
what?
Or
that
a whole.
happens.
Mhm.
Yeah, that happens. People in prison have full-blown relationships with people in the free world, and sometimes they even folks portray themselves to be masculine and on the inside of the walls.
Come out wearing dresses and makeup, boy.
Well,
Wait a minute.
well, I'm just was thinking that,
I went in looking like this and came out looking like this, guys.
but it's a survivor. That's
Hmm.
a survival method. Like that things when things like that happen, that's people trying to adapt and survive to their environment, right? I don't think it's necessarily like a conscious decision. I think it's them trying to survive, but you do see that. And so in the same way, and that's just one thing. Like you see, you can put on any kind of mask in there and people don't know what you were like out in the free world. People don't
Yeah, I
know
agree.
about your family, they don't know. And so you can tell them anything, you can act any kind of way, and then you get out here and it can be a whole different ball game. And I think that's true for people that meet in the penitentiary or people that meet through correspondence, like one in the free world and one in the penitentiary.
But the thing now is, in prison, they could have their people look them up.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
some real stuff too. Yeah, that's how they find out they have husbands, kids. They have all this stuff that they said they ain't got.
Because they can look up their social media from beforehand too. I've seen
Mm-hmm.
that too, where they've been told, yeah, yes, I have kids, and yes, I had custody of my kids, and then they find them on social media, and all of that's a different story,
And
and
it
they're
builds
crying.
relationships into lies. So once you
Right.
lie
And
to the
well,
beginning,
that's the foundation, right? Like your relationship wasn't immediately built on lies. And when it's immediately built on lies, I mean, it's like trying to build a house on sand. It's just going to
mm-hmm.
collapse the second um, you get out here. But too, it's like if you're locked up a long time too, I don't I told Serena recently, I said, I love you, I care about you. I would be She was one of the best girlfriends I ever had. I said, but girl, I'm not going to get married to you now. I'm not fixing to do any of that because you need to get out for a year or two and do your exploring. She's also bisexual, and that's kind of a thing where I'm like, no, that makes me nervous anyway. So you need to do you, boo, before you show up on my doorstep or we do anything with commitments, because I am not walking into that heartbreak. Because they do time and it's like, well, I want to be free and I think I want a commitment, and then all of a sudden it turns into a big disaster.
Well, the good thing about being a female and like your girlfriend being bisexual, you could be a dude too. You can get the equipment.
I mean, I could.
I mean, some part of like, I mean, every woman that gets with us masculine, that's what y'all call us, right? I call us stud broads, but masculine women, we look like dudes anyway. So part of them bisexual anyways.
Well, I'll tell you, and You're right. I think there is something to that. If a female's attracted to a very masculine female, that perhaps she's more
Bisexual.
well, it's different on the spectrum, right? I think that she's just a little more this way on the spectrum than the other way. But Elaine's coming in with a good question. She says, "Have do we ever meet people in the free world that we knew we were in prison with, but they haven't made it open in their spaces, so the people around don't know?" Toonch, what happened with you?
Yeah, like I've had a friend say, I'm only inviting you to this event, family thing, and nobody else, and people get their feelings hurt. And she's like, because I can't trust that they won't talk about prison, because my coworkers or people in their life don't know, and I know that you understand without getting angry. So you can just say we met in school, which was true, right? But yeah, I know lots of people that even want to do advocacy stuff that are just like, I can't, I'm not going to, but I love what y'all are doing. I just cannot let people in my life know.
Yeah, we do have some people doing advocacy work that when I turn that camera on, they're not, when I'm making my silly TikTok saying how many years did you do, or what was your favorite food in prison, they're like, don't include me in that, because I don't put it out there like that. And then I spoke with someone that was my very close friend. I called her my sister when we were incarcerated, and she has quite a story. She got locked up as a juvenile, and I wanted to interview her for my YouTube, and I'm just like, please, because her story is very impactful. And she said, Marci, the people I work with don't know I've been to prison, and I can't jeopardize that area of my life for it. And that's understandable. All I could say was I have to respect that, right? But for sure that happens. Brittany, have you ever come across anybody that was like, please don't tell them I met you in prison?
I
Or
mean, not anybody I've met in prison, but I mean, people that have been in prison before, like some of my old employees. They been in TYC and prison, and they just like, no, I don't want to talk about it. Or some people I work with now, they don't want nobody to know because they're scared of judgment, or I don't know what. I don't know. I have my TDC ID in my truck, so I don't care. I used to wear my
right.
TDC ID when I was a manager for premium, so I let it be known because I don't want everybody to think that, oh, you're a felon, you've been in prison, you can't do nothing. No, you can. That's not a barrier. That was just my stepping stone.
I think you made such a good point about breaking stigma, because just us knowing what our background was and is, us speaking up and talking openly about it, that breaks down walls, right? And I'm not saying that everybody is in the position where they're comfortable with that. And I definitely respect the folks that need to, for their own mental health or whatever, put it behind them, or for their careers, however it looks. But I think that the people that are speaking out about it, that that makes a difference for sure.
Yeah.
So people we are so far from the subject. so and Brittany is awesome. She's incredible, and her story is, I've also interviewed her on my YouTube channel, and you guys, it's on the playlist that says I Am Not My Record. But her story is phenomenal from childhood on. So definitely, you guys could definitely check that out if you want to know more about her personal story. But she's been sober and clean for 8.
Almost 8. November will be 8 years.
uh, and after starting her dive into that world as, I mean, in middle school, you were
I
pretty young.
was 12, yeah.
So, yeah, she is pretty incredible. And she's tired. She's been working so hard at just trying to make a bunch of money while she's out of state. So she's working all of these crazy hours, and she's
I mean, I'm an hour ahead of y'all right now, and that means, I mean, I get up at y'all's time would be 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock, because I'm getting up at 6 o'clock my time.
so
Yeah.
and you're not used to getting up that early.
I've been doing pretty good though. Okay.
Shaquille says, and I should say Shaquille Oatmeal because we do love her name. Says kind of like some people don't want to come out as being gay. Like the idea of rejection can be really hard, and that's it. You're right. It
Yeah.
is when you know that there are so many people that judge something behind who you are, or your past. Yeah, it can be very intimidating to do that. Absolutely.
And also, that made me think about when we were in the hospital. I was in the hospital, and that nurse was like, "Oh, y'all are a cute couple," and was all like, And then all of a sudden, they said, "Where'd you meet?" We said, "Prison," and we never saw that lady again.
Yeah, that nurse had been in there, hanging out with us, chilling with us,
Talking.
laughing. Every time she had a spare moment, she was spending it in our room. We were in a very small hospital in our small town, and we were just getting lots of attention from her. And then she was fine with us being two females. That wasn't the issue. It
Right.
was just when she asked where we had met, and we're
I said prison, and she was,
yeah, yeah.
"I'll never see that lady
We
again."
got the side eye. She immediately started, I mean, just shut her mouth, didn't say another word. Finished. She was actually on her keyboard on the computer in there and then left out, and we never saw her again. We would have had to hit the emergency button to see that lady again. She was out of there.
She was not coming in, and it was still the same shift. It was a shift change, guys.
Right.
And it is right. It is that rejection, and growing up gay, it feels like the very same type of rejection that I got all my life. Recently, when me and Mandy were at the horror movie convention, we were hanging out. We made friends because Mandy is a very friendly person, very outgoing. She met these two ladies, and they were hanging, and the one lady was really cool. It kind of was like crushing on her a little, and she goes, "Well, y'all are tight. Like, is that your girlfriend?" I said, "No," and she said, "Oh, well, y'all seem really tight. Like, how long have y'all been friends?" And I said, "Oh, a long time." And she goes, "Where did y'all meet? Like, how did y'all meet and how y'all became friends?" I said, "Oh, in prison." She goes, "Oh, well, okay." And I was like, "So, yeah, I know it's kind of," she was like, "No, I don't judge." And they were fine, right? They were totally fine. And they were coming back for the after party. And I said, "Girl," I was stressed out the whole night. I was like, "Well, they're not going to come back." And then, halfway through the party that night, I'm like, "I don't see them." And then sure enough, there they were. "Hey." And I said, "Oh, I thought you weren't going to come because of what I told you." She goes, "Oh, I don't care about that. I don't." And she was a school teacher. She was like, "Stuff happens. Who cares?" But that doesn't happen often. It does
No.
not.
Yeah, I think that the stigma is, well, it's definitely real. And I'm just thinking about just random places I've been where I've been at an advocacy meeting in the Starbucks. And so I'm definitely talking about prison related things in a way that lets people know I have lived experience, and have people giving me the side eye or watching me speak. And I'm like,
You
okay,
better
well,
watch that order, not you.
right. Right.
See, that can't be in there. I go behind mine. Everybody goes.
Yeah. Yeah. You would have said something. If somebody ever said something, Brittany's pretty quick to speak up. She doesn't really let a whole lot
Now,
slide verbally, but
I need to ask y'all, and I
My
think I
facial
know it,
expressions, though.
but so y'all, when y'all got together, were you together the whole time, or did you have breakups and y'all were with other people?
ooh, Toonch.
Well,
Britt,
hey,
you're getting
yeah. Now look,
messy.
let's bring it back. Let's bring it full circle because people like the details. They like the
Let's talk
details.
about it, babe.
Okay,
Let's
let's
talk
talk
about it.
about it. Well, so there was a breakup, and I'll tell you what.
Who?
Okay.
Let
Who?
let, let me
Oh
start
boy.
with saying that I am 14 years older than Brittany.
Okay.
And this is like how it kind of started with a breakup.
See, somebody
Uh,
wants to hear the tea. You messy. You are messy,
who said give us the tea?
Carrie.
Carrie. Yeah. So we Brittany and I were living separate. It was We had been together a couple years. And there were just a lot of things that I started getting in my head about, like Brittany had talked about wanting a family.
You did. You say you wanted kids because you
I
have kids.
I didn't want kids. I have 5 kids.
I have kids, Chester and Tony. Okay, I'm good.
Your pets.
I'm good. I have my nephew too. I'm good.
Right. But I'm just saying these are the kind of things that were going through my mind. I was turning 40 that year, and so we did break up, and it was horrible. And Elaine had commented earlier about how hard it might be to break up and live on the same. And it's like breaking up in a small town. You're
Yep.
going to see each other. People are going to come to you and tell you everything the other person's
And
doing.
you're gonna know the person that the person's with because
Yes.
everybody knows everybody.
Yes. So that was horrible. So what happened? So
Even
we
if
were
they're
both
uglier than you, it's worse.
we were broke up, and
Shark
Brittany, out of nowhere, COVID was kind of happening, so it like starting, and we were locked down a lot. They were really separating the dorms, so we weren't seeing each other at chow or anything. And Brittany pulled chain to another unit, and that just means, that she had to. Pulling chain just means she went on transport just out of nowhere. Well, it was out of nowhere for her, but it was purposeful because her co-defendant, or the person that she was with when her crime was committed, moved onto that unit. And so they moved her off immediately. They passed each other, one coming in the back gate and her going out the back gate.
No, she was going in medical and I was going through the host squad gate. They did not let us pass each other.
Well, but
I was
she
in
was
handcuffs.
coming
I was about to
into
probably
the
beat her
unit.
up.
She was coming in. Pekorsky, get your life right. She was coming on the unit and you were leaving the unit. And it wasn't all smiles and cupcakes.
Hell
and
no, it wasn't. I was comfortable. Why you got to come to my unit? You done touched every female unit there was in Texas. Why you come to mine?
So anyways, they moved her, and I didn't know they had moved her because it was COVID. And it was like 2 weeks had gone by and we were broken up. But finally I was like, has anybody seen her or heard anything about her? Like, is she still here? And so one of the girls that kind of had a job where she got to see other people a lot, she went and did the investigative reporting for me. And she came back and they're like, she's gone. She left. And my little heart was tore up because because I didn't get to say it. Like, it was just that those kind of separations, even beyond girlfriends, but friendships and bonds that you make in there, a unit transfer, that can be severed forever. Like, I have people that I love dearly, that I slept next to, that we shared everything, that we cried together, laughed together, that were my friends, that I called my sister. And a unit transfer severs. It's just gone. And so that's how I felt when she had gone, even though we weren't on great terms when that transfer happened, but it was heartbreaking for me. It really was. And everybody around me knew it. But this is how it went down, guys. Brittany and I, we did not get charged or convicted at the same time. We had no way of knowing that our parole dates were at the same time.
Damn, government name and everything.
Tiffany Jones. So she's on a completely different region, a completely different area of the state, on the hobby unit. I'm on the Dr. Lane Murray unit, and we see parole at the same time. And the parole board votes on us on the same day. There are 2 different boards because we're in 2 different regions. Tiffany, that's okay, baby. Everybody knows her name. It's all right. And so we find out that, here we are. And Brittany's mom, or Brittany had her family just check on mine. So Brittany knew that I had
my best friend at Smash.
You had Ashley. So I didn't know that Brittany had made parole. I thought maybe she was still in the system. So Brittany gets an answer that sends her home. I get an answer that sends me to in-prison programming. So I'm in prison programming, thinking I'm getting out and going to write her because I'm thinking she's still in the system. And just randomly out of nowhere, they, um, I get at mail call, I get a JPay, and it's from Brittany, and we hadn't talked for months, 6, 7, 8, 9 months maybe,
Because I ain't
and
never forgot you.
oh, oh, little sweet thing. Um, yeah, so it was just it wasn't a romantic letter. It was just a, hey, this is what's going on. I'm glad you made parole. I'm glad for your kids. And it was just that. Well, we started writing back and forth. And then you guys know, if you have money on your phone and you go home from prison, that money is gone.
Yeah.
So I was like, hey, I have some money on my phone. Set the phone up. And from that,
I never let her hang up. Every time she hung up, she called me right back.
Yes, we stayed on the phone for hours and hours, and
Costs a lot of money, guys.
yeah, that's how we rebuilt our relationship. And so Mackenzie's asking if we had a couple questions. Mackenzie's asking if we thought we'd be together when we got out. So I think early on in our relationship, we felt like that was an option. But when we separated, I didn't feel like that was going to happen. But from talking on the phone, we made a plan. And the plan was when we got out, when I got home, we would see. Like we were going to see what was going on. And Brittany, she was in another relationship out here. Like we had to make big decisions to make that
We're in
happen.
a relationship in there.
Well, okay, but
Dang.
Brittany, like,
you
no,
out
you're
there.
not
I
going
put
to
you
do
out
that.
there.
She said, no, you're not going to do that. We're going to tell the whole story.
I try to word things so nicely, and Brittany just shoves me under the bus.
Well, I mean, your girlfriend ain't like you talking to me.
This is true. I had a girlfriend with me there that didn't want me on the phone, but
Oh well.
yeah. So
I won. I'm prison wife.
I know, but now, Marci, please go ahead. But I do want to just, I would love if you told the water cooler story that you told me, though.
Toonche is messy.
No, that's a great story, though, because
Oh, okay. I'll tell it.
will
I'll tell it. How about this?
Okay, well, hold on, because I
Okay,
want to
you don't want me to
answer Elaine's question. The parole board, Elaine, did not know we were a couple. So the actual people that vote on the parole board, they never see us face to face. They don't come on the unit. They don't know what's going on, like on the unit. It's not like a staff member that's there every day that might catch us passing notes or something. So they absolutely didn't know that. So the water cooler.
Well, we tell it. I'm gonna tell the real. She gonna try to sugarcoat it, y'all.
Go for it.
All right, let me tell you. So at this point, it's like before I pulled chain or whatever. Marci had her little girlfriend. Well, whatever, shark boy, whatever you want to call it.
Stop.
And I had a girlfriend too. Well, I was in the other dorm, and I ended up, because Marci, her girlfriend, and my girlfriend at the time lived in one dorm. I was in the other side. I got over to their dorm, and we went out for water. Me and my girlfriend was down there getting water. We were just talking, and next thing we know, here comes Marci and her girlfriend.
Okay, but let me explain.
Coming down there.
This is cell block housing. So they have to let you out of the doors, like to come.
The laws were being messy. That's what they were doing.
And so the officers they did that very intentionally, because the block is made up of 2 rows, and Brittany was on the first row,
and all 3 of y'all were
on the second row. There was no reason we should have been let out at the same time.
Right.
The officers literally let Brittany and her girlfriend out, and me and my girlfriend out at the same time. And Brittany was there at the water cooler filling up her girlfriend's cup.
No, my girlfriend was about to fill up my cup. And right when my girlfriend went up to push the water thing with my cup, you yanked the cooler. They said that bee is not getting you no damn water. Right in front of your girlfriend. My girlfriend's like, what the fuck? She started laughing. I was like, what the fuck is going on? What the crap is going on? My bad. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cuss.
Oh my God.
Right in front of her girlfriend. And then she got in trouble later, y'all. Don't act like she was just the boss and just got away with it. She didn't let it go. She didn't let it go.
Now there was another story that is also very telling. about our relationships on the inside, right? Because it is full octane. I don't want to use the word craziness, but like it is just the nature of that place. And you know what we would call showing out, right? That's what showing
Oh,
out means.
you want
Like,
to know showing out?
let's
I got some stories
was
from
there
Marcy showing out.
times that because I did it, because when the girl broke up with me, I said, "Oh, I got you." So the cute little girl that I was doing peer education with, who was all starry-eyed while I was talking, I'm gonna invite her to rec because I know you're gonna be out here, and we're gonna walk and we're gonna talk and laugh, and I'm gonna laugh even though the girl don't. I don't even know what she's saying. And immediately afterwards, can I talk to you? Right?
Oh yeah, that's happened.
That's showing out. So did Marcy ever show out like that?
No, I
No.
did. Yeah, no, I
You
did.
did.
I
Okay.
did
Okay.
because she only had that one girlfriend, and we're not going to
Okay.
get into that subject.
Okay.
But I did every girl she told me in our whole relationship not to talk to because the girl liked me. Guess what? They were my girlfriend, and I made sure everybody knew. One after another. Bing, 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 bing.
And did you purposely do these things in front of Marcy?
On purpose. I really didn't want them girls. Really,
And
I really didn't. The
would come
only
in the
girl
church
that
house, would come in the church house, Toonche, and sit right in front of me.
Oh yeah, that was
Yeah.
Brittany. That was perfect. I mean, that was she. I can
well,
imagine Brittany showing out in the way that is. That's the art of it. She did it, and it. She got the outcome she needed. So
no,
well
I
done.
didn't.
No, you well,
No.
you got the outcome. She's sitting right here. I mean,
Well, now she's
what?
sitting right here, but don't get me started on that. You don't don't get me started on that.
They're talking about show up and show out, and it's a completely different
If
ball
y'all
game.
would y'all see look, I'm not gonna say all my girlfriends when I was trying to piss Marcy off was cute because they were not. But Marcy was jealous, y'all. She was real jealous. She really to this day, I'm not even gonna talk about that girlfriend that she did not yeah, she just
Facts. This is the truth. You're speaking the truth. I can't even deny that. So for sure. But it was just
were you intimidated, babe, or what was it?
well, we're fixing to have a conversation when this show's over. We're fixing to have a long talk. Normally, after the show, when we come in from the rec yard, me and Toonch, we plan out our game plan for the upcoming week.
Oh, but sorry, Toon, she's gonna
Talk,
call me and
but
yell at me.
this going down. You're probably lucky you're not in Michigan or you're in Michigan.
I am in
No,
Michigan. What's up?
somebody was asking if we're living apart, and so no, she's just there working for right now. We're not living in two different locations, and it's tough, but it just yeah, it's just what it is right now. But it's temporary,
It's
and
temporary. And
yeah,
Tiffany, you already know I still don't play when it comes to Marcy.
yeah, yeah. Well, Tooch, is there anything else that the people need to know? We're almost here, and
Messy at
yeah, messy. You are messy, girl. You
Honey,
are
look,
messy.
I just knew there were some good stories that would illustrate our dynamics on the inside. I did all those things too, but like I said, my relationships didn't make it out. They went back to men.
And so then
that
getting
sucks to
out.
me. That says something about you. No, I'm just
Oh man,
kidding.
don't start! Don't start! Don't
You're
start!
saving yourself for Taylor, anyways.
I mean, that's real. That's real. So it doesn't matter. They could burn off.
And then when you get out of prison, so we talked about just changing those dynamics because we did have to adjust. And there was a little bit of a learning curve where you have to realize, oh, we don't do that out here like that. Those things that were completely acceptable and expected. Because frankly, if you had a girlfriend that didn't do some of those maybe quote unquote toxic things, that meant she didn't care about you. I mean, that's the reality of
I will say that we did not cut ourselves and drink each other's blood and
Well,
stuff
oh
thank
like that.
God.
yeah,
Yes,
We didn't do
that
none of
was
that.
the
Mm-mm.
next level up, and none of us ever
yeah.
And
elevated
look,
to
and
that.
we survived our relationship. Have they? Did they?
Well, yeah, that was something else, but that just sorry y'all. I'm so sorry. That was something else for sure, but that you're right. We didn't have to do but it could have gotten there. That's a mental health. That's
Sure.
the
I mean, I
need
have
to
mental
feel
problems, but I don't think I would ever drink
well,
your blood.
the need to feel included, the need to feel all of those things, the need to feel attached to someone, and the idea that people have that links them to that person. That's
Well, and I
that's
want to
it.
say too that a lot of times those extreme behaviors happened in solitary confinement and
Oh, yeah.
restricted housing. Like
I
they
don't
had
know.
started to lose their mind.
In medium custody, I've seen it. People putting each other's blood in their coffees and stuff. It was
Well,
pretty
yeah, I
gross.
mean, that's it. That's exactly cell block housing. It's more restrictive housing. We're gonna wrap this up, but I want to shout out to Houston Smooth. I did talk about him at the beginning of the podcast, and he hopped on here, so I was so glad. I was telling y'all that I interviewed Houston on my YouTube channel, and
Is he a rapper?
he's an artist, and we were talking about how we film our podcasts, like my studios here at my daughter's apartment, and we were just talking about how you recorded your first music in the closet. So I told that story. Guys, do we know what we're going to talk about next week? Any ideas?
I think we should talk about parole, the
I think we
process
should
of
talk about
parole.
Jennifer.
I mean, we can put it, we can do it. We can do all of it. I'll tell you, it wasn't just the chapel bathroom. It was the back bedroom. It was the
Oh, I know. Trust
office.
me, me too.
Okay, well, we're
Get in where we fit in. You hear me?
so we want to talk about
Was there a
how.
bump? It don't matter.
Bye,
On the rec yard. On the rec yard.
Brittany, we love you. Thank you so much for joining us. I'll see you. I'll talk to you in just a minute. Believe that.
I'm gonna go take a shower.
Oh, I cut her off. I didn't mean to. I'm sorry, honey. I'm so sorry. I think
Oh.
parole is Are we going to talk about what to expect when your loved one's eligible for parole? How are they seen? Is that
Yeah,
what
I
you're
think that would
thinking?
be great. I think because people have the idea that Texas parole looks like the Shawshank Redemption, where you go sit down and you have this. It's nothing like that. Parole does not look like the movies in the state of Texas, and maybe we can just talk about that. We get those questions a lot.
That sounds great. That sounds terrific. And Tiffany Jones, or any other person that's been incarcerated on a women's unit in prison, we would love to have your input, and we would love to have you hop on here sometime. So if you message us, that's a great way, and say exactly how do you want to be a guest, like at what capacity, what do you want to talk about in particular, and we'll make it happen. We would love that. And Brittany has me all thrown up. I am so discombobulated.
Honey, I love that water cooler story, because right in front of everybody, you were like, I don't care. I'm going to snatch this. I love it.
Yep, the full water cooler, like I was a beast. I felt like I was a beast. Yank that away. Okay, Toonche. Guys, please remember to share this live when you're finished. If you're listening, we would love if you would leave us a review. That helps our podcast reach a broader audience. Toonche, it was a pleasure seeing you tonight. And
as always, me too for you.
We will be right back here on the Rec Yard, same place, same time, next Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Central Time. We will see you then. Thank y'all for hanging out with us on the Rec Yard Women's Prison Podcast with Marci Marie and Toonche. Make sure and subscribe to our channels so you'll never miss a rec night.